أصحاب السعادة، الضيوف الكرام، السيدات والسادة، الجلسة القادمة ستبدأ بعد 10 دقائق في مسرح الواحة. يرجى الجلوس في مقاعدكم وتحويل أجهزتكم المحمولة إلى الوضع الصامت، وشكرا.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the next session in the Al Wafa Theatre will start in 10 minutes. Please take your seats and switch your mobile devices to silent. Thank you.
أصحاب السعادة، الضيوف الكرام، السيدات والسادة، الجلسة التالية في مسرح الواحة على وشك البدء. يرجى الجلوس في مقاعدكم وتحويل أجهزتكم المحمولة إلى الوضع الصامت، وشكراً.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to take your seats in the Awaha Theatre. The next session is starting shortly. Please ensure that your mobile devices are switched to silent. Thank you.
أصحاب السعادة، الضيوف الكرام، السيدات والسادة، ندعوكم للجلوس في مقاعدكم. الجلسة التالية على وشك البدء. يرجى تحويل أجهزتكم المحمولة إلى الوضع الصامت، وشكرا.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the next session in the Awaha Theatre is about to begin. Please take your seats and ensure that your mobile devices are switched to silent.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, thank you very much indeed for joining us here at Al Waha Theatre for a session and a topic which I'm sure you will all agree is going to be absolutely pivotal in managing the climate crisis we face. The title is Powering the Ocean Breakthroughs Through 100% Sustainable Ocean Management. My name's David Eads. I'm going to be introducing you to a raft of individuals and organizations who are driving this agenda. It is difficult to overstate the importance of the ocean in climate issues. I was down at the Ocean Pavilion earlier in the day. A simple message on one board said it all. We can't solve the climate crisis without a healthy ocean. Now that comes in two forms. If we don't have a healthy ocean, ultimately, we may struggle to survive. On the other side of the equation, the ocean can do so much to help to meet some of these targets, particularly with regard to driving down emissions. In fact, even now, there are ready-made solutions which can be implemented, which could close the emissions gap by 35% by 2050. So when you consider the global stocktake, the look of the world we're in at the moment, every percentage point there has surely got to be brought to bear. We have the high-level panel on sustainable ocean management to thank for driving this initiative. And just to give you a window into that world, we have a video for you to show you, to give you some context to what we'll be talking about this afternoon.
The vast expanse of our ocean, from its mysterious abysses to its vibrant coasts, holds secrets yet to be unveiled. But one thing is certain, its irreplaceable role in making Earth a livable haven. Ocean-based climate action could deliver up to a third of emission cuts needed by 2050. As a major regulator of our climate, a healthy ocean not only helps cool down our warming world, but protects us from worsening climate impacts. Together, we are catalyzing momentum across 5 key sectors: marine conservation, shipping, ocean renewable energy, aquatic food, and coastal tourism. By embracing the ocean's full potential, we're not just protecting the largest ecosystem on Earth, we're reshaping our destiny, ensuring a healthier, more equitable world for generations to come. Visit us to learn more about the ocean breakthroughs.
Now, the ocean panel we talk about as the beacon, if you like, or the lighthouse guiding the direction for this ocean sustainability. And I want to introduce 2 of the guardians of the lighthouse, if I can put it that way. So please welcome onto the stage Lorelei Picourt, who's Executive Director for Ocean and Climate Platform, and Ignace Béguin, who's the Nature Lead for the High-Level Climate Champions. Lorelei, I'm going to leave it to you to explain the rationale behind that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Excellencies, dear ocean friends, we are so excited to be here at COP28 to power the ocean breakthroughs. Over the last few years, we have embarked on quite the journey together to really take ocean climate action to the next level. Really convinced that strong leadership from non-state actors can and should drive more ambitious public policies from governments. This is what we call the Blue Ambition Loop. For the last few months now, we have convened about 30 experts from the most prominent organizations around the globe, from FAO to Ørsted to IUCN to Iberostar. Most importantly, we have brought on board some of the most passionate, the most creative people that this remarkable ocean community has to offer. After all, our plan was fairly simple. We wanted to design a blueprint for the 5 ocean-based sectors that you have seen in this video. We wanted to identify some science-based targets and inclusive targets to deliver for nature, people, and climate, and all of this by 2030. Fairly simple task, right? Just as the ocean connects us all, we do believe that it is the ocean that will help us tackle all the challenges facing humanity today. But now that we have a lighthouse and that we are the guardian of that lighthouse, we still need to amplify its rays and we need to let it shine bright like a diamond. Right, Ines?
Yes, indeed. Hello, everyone. I truly believe that COP28 has been incremental in putting ocean and nature at the front of climate action. This week, our collective ambition is for parties to size the ocean breakthroughs and to reference it in the outcome of the global stocktake. These ocean breakthroughs are clear and achievable targets which can help put humanity back on track. Now, to deliver on these breakthroughs, we need governments to step up to establish the right policies for people, planet, and nature. What does this mean? It means committing, developing, and implementing sustainable ocean plans. In addition, we also need to see a shift in capital flow. Mainstream finance should scale up into more equitable ocean solutions. So the ocean breakthroughs are critical to move from commitment to action. Let's do it.
That's a great message, Lorelei, Ines. Thank you both very much indeed for pushing that out. Now, you will relate to perhaps the Pacific, the Atlantic, the Arctic, the Indian Ocean. There is one ocean. There are many voices, many advocates pushing for the support and sustainability of their part of the ocean, but it's one ocean and it needs a unified voice as far as possible. I want to introduce you now to three people, and I think it's fair to say their lives are defined by their environment, and their environment is very much attuned to the ocean. So could I ask to come and join me up on the stage, please? Monaco's Minister of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation, that is Isabelle Béraud-Amadei. Minister, thank you very much indeed. Also, Enrique Sala, marine ecologist and conservationist. Enrique founded the Pristine Seas Project. And Ivory Vogt, who's a sustainable travel consultant from the island, one of the many islands of Palau. So thank you all very much indeed for joining us. Madam Minister, if you'd like to sit here. And Enrique. Madam Minister, I'll start with you. I think you will speak in French, so I hope you have your headsets. We don't have to introduce Monaco as a principality which recognizes the value of protecting and sustaining the ocean. So it would be very interesting to get your perspective on this initiative. Thank you. Oh, c'est bon.
So first of all, I would like to thank the COP28 presidency and especially His Excellency Mrs. Azza Amoubarak for organizing this high-level event which puts the ocean at the heart of climate action. So as you know, Monaco's engagement for protecting the oceans is not new. This engagement is of scientific interest and historical interest for our princes for more than a century. As our Prince Albert II says, even the prince is convinced of the necessity of knowing better in order to protect better. So thanks to his engagement, the Principality is engaged in climate action to share the ocean voice and strengthen the links of the climate crisis and the biodiversity crisis. Monaco has a key role when asking the IPCC to study this problem, and the document was approved in Monaco in 2019, and this report underlined the link between the ocean and the climate and underlined the terrible impacts of climate change on the ocean. However, it is necessary to recognize that the ocean is not a passive victim of climate change. It represents only a sink of solutions in order both for mitigation and adaptation. So this is the year of the global stocktake, and Monaco believes in the immense potential of nature-based solutions. The global stocktake is a great opportunity to put the ocean at the heart of the Paris Agreement, and so we recognize the ocean breakthroughs, which are a good representation of our commitment and a good compass for action. So let me explain the way that our principality acts on this durability.
This is a part of our national strategy for the climate finance. The projects that we support are part of our mitigation plans, but also enhance the resilience of coastal communities against climate change. So Monaco has long supported the cities' initiatives by the Ocean Climate Platform, and they had an advocacy recently on the matter. We also think that we need to explore the huge potential of oceans as a source of energy. Monaco was part of the first countries to exploit water energy in the 60s, and these technologies based on heat pumps using seawater has become an essential strategy from our government to help for buildings to have a good alternative to fossil fuels that has been banned in Monaco recently. And this ocean sourced energy managed to power 50 buildings, and that saves huge quantities of emissions. As a reminder, we have 2 square kilometers in Monaco, so any building helps. I also would like to highlight that the commitment from Monaco goes beyond our government. We have the Albert II Foundation that launched an initiative, ReOcean, which is a investment fund that will invest 100 million euros in innovative companies that will have a strong impact to reduce the main sources of contamination of oceans. It's also on transforming how we produce food based on the ocean and to protect maritime ecosystems. We also witnessed a platform here in Dubai besides the Leaders Summit, and that highlighted the role of entrepreneurship in companies and innovation to build a blue economy that is sustainable. For Monaco, the ocean is our best ally against climate change, and I think that together we need to find stronger synergies that would benefit the ocean, climate, and humanity as a whole. To finish, I would like to remind you that the Principality of Monaco will host as the UN summit a side event from the UN summit in Nice, and it's going to be in June 2025, and you are warmly invited. Thank you so much.
sais que votre soutien continue à beaucoup apprécié. Merci bien.
Thank you, Mrs. Thank you so much for your support. It is highly necessary.
This extraordinary project that you have developed, Pristine Seas, looking for the most biodiverse hotspots out there and demanding their protection. So I wonder if you can tell us a bit about the work you do and actually how much has changed over the time you've been doing that in a sort of understanding of what you're trying to do.
Yes, thank you, David. I work on ocean protection because the ocean needs a lot of protection. We have taken fish out of the ocean faster than they can reproduce. We are treating the ocean as a toilet. We are making it warmer and more acidic, and the ocean cannot absorb our impacts anymore. And the benefits that we are obtaining from the ocean are diminishing, and that affects a lot of people, especially coastal communities in developing countries. And this is because the ocean economy, and a lot of people have been talking about the blue economy here. This is because so far the blue economy has been based on extraction and destruction. In other words, we value more dead fish or minerals than a living ocean. And this has to change. The ocean economy of the future cannot be based on stripping down the seafloor for minerals with potentially catastrophic consequences. It cannot be based on huge industrial fishing fleets stealing fish from developing countries. No, it has to be regenerative. And actually, restoring marine life is the easiest goal to achieve, because we know that when we protect areas in the ocean, marine life, the fish comes back and bounces back spectacularly. And those fish spill over. They replenish fishing grounds. They sustain jobs and livelihoods in the fishing and tourism industries. The more marine life there is in the ocean, the more carbon the ocean captures. And also we know that people living near marine reserves, areas that have been closed to fishing and other damaging activities, people living near these marine reserves are healthier than people living near unprotected areas. So it's protecting strategically parts of the ocean is a multiple win for marine life, for people, and for the economy. This is why we at National Geographic Pristine Seas, since 2008, have been working with local communities, indigenous peoples, and governments to create 27 of the largest marine reserves in the world, covering a total area the size of the Amazon region. But that's not enough. We have a lot more to do, because the science and the economics are very clear. We need to protect at least 30% of the global ocean by 2030, not anywhere, strategically in the right places, so marine life can be restored and continue providing benefits to people, to the economy, and to climate. While at the same time, we need to phase off fossil fuels and replace them with renewable energies so we can slow down the warming of the ocean. These are the two main things we need to do. Everything else is tactics.
Enric, what you say is a no-brainer in many respects for many people to understand. I sense your frustration at how difficult it's proved to be. Very briefly, do you find you are getting more access to more people about this? Are you breaking down barriers, very briefly?
Oh, absolutely. Now it's much easier to reach more people all around the world. And what we are doing now is to share success stories, because we know that for every dollar invested in ocean protection, for every dollar invested in a marine reserve, that dollar generates $10 in economic output. That's a return of 1,000%, right? So it's cases like this, examples like this, or marine reserves increasing the fish for people around it. Now, this is how we are using our communications now to share success stories and make sure that we can scale ocean protection for the benefit of people.
Showing the business perspective works. So, Enric, thank you very much indeed. Ivory, I don't need to ask you what drew you into ocean matters. I mean, you're surrounded by it from birth, so that's obvious. But the sustainable travel element is clearly important to you.
Yes, it is, and thank you so much to the COP28 presidency and this esteemed panelists that I get to be up here with. As a young Pacific Islander, the ocean is so important to our livelihoods. My uncle told me that as people of the sea, we live because the sea lives. So let's start there. Today I want to talk about the importance of coastal tourism to the ocean breakthrough. So I will go through some of the points, but to add to what Enric has mentioned, it's not just about sustainability and conserving our ocean spaces, it's also about equity. So let me start with that. I want to talk about the elephant in the room, because it doesn't matter how much we do to make tourism businesses in the ocean economy more climate resilient if these economies do not support local people and continue to degrade our ocean and lands. John F. Kennedy once said that a rising tide lifts all boats. It's true that tourism brings the rising tide of economic development, but land is a boat that few islanders have now. Land is so much more than just a commodity. It's actually paramount to the continued existence and viability of Pacific Islanders. In Palau, land is part of our social fabric. We even have a name for each parcel of land, and that land is passed down from generation to generation. Land is what connects us to our relatives, and it helps define who we are and where we come from. That's why when we discuss the loss of land, whether that's through rising sea levels or the privatization of land for tourists, it's an existential crisis to so many islanders. and it represents a loss of thousands of years of culture and history. Due to tourism developments in island and coastal areas, we have seen an increased number of outmigration of local people due to the intergenerational dispossession of lands that has created instability and prevention of wealth. Many islanders, they actually move to developed countries to become treated like second-class citizens. This is the case for many Micronesians that moved to the United States, for instance. And in Palau, we actually have a saying that "Aragong al-Daab amla otit aragong al-Balu." That means that the sea crabs have pushed out the land crabs. And it's there to signify how foreign investments have pushed out local land titles for local people. That's why in island destinations that heavily rely on tourism, there are more Hawaiians living outside of Hawaii than there are in Hawaii. And that's why I echo what Prime Minister Mia Mottley said, that we do not want to become tenants of our own land. Besides land alienation, it's economic leakages that are also preventing the true benefits from tourism dollars from being realized in the island and coastal destinations that need it most. In fact, islands get a lot of foreign direct investments. Statistics show we get actually 4 times more foreign direct investment than other developing nations. So we don't need to be asking for more money from tourism. We need to be asking how local communities can see more of that money and how it can be better utilized for a just transition. So that brings me to my final point, and that's to say that as we think about building the climate resiliency of the fastest growing sector of the ocean economy, let's not forget people. Let's not perpetuate economic imperialism, and let's use this industry as a force for good to preserve local cultures, help local people, and conserve life on our planet. Thank you.
And Ivory, can I thank you also for reminding us about what sustainability means in its entirety. So thank you very much indeed. Indeed, thank you to all 3 of you for your contributions. And if I could ask you to leave the stage that way, I will carry on with our session. Thank you very much indeed. As I said, this initiative is driven by the high-level panel, the Ocean Panel, and we want to introduce a bit more of the work that they are doing and the achievements they have reached so far, and indeed many of the challenges that still lie in front of them. We're talking about 18 countries involved here, and they are a cross-section of our globe, from big and small, from north and south, you name it. The diversity is among their group, and they run the rule over about 45 to 50% of our coastal waters. So this is a huge and significant body of government. Obviously, the task is to bring more people on board. That is what we're here for, after all. What I'd like to do, first of all, before I introduce our next panel of speakers, is present a short video from some of the leaders. Thank you.
The ocean, vast and teeming with life, now stands at the crossroads of survival and decline. This is a story of transformation and hope, a journey from victim to solution in the fight against climate change.
Humanity's well-being is deeply intertwined with the health of the ocean.
But today, the ocean's health is off track.
The challenges are great.
Climate change, pollution, ecosystem collapse.
For the warming of our planet to the degradation of marine ecosystem, we're witnessing the consequences of human activity.
As our greatest ally in the climate crisis, the ocean provides about half of the Earth's oxygen, absorbs 93% of the heat from our emissions, and over a quarter of our excess CO2. Yet, climate change is taking a toll, and the ocean is telling us that enough is enough.
豊かな海洋を今後も維持していく上で、気候変動対策は待ったなしの課題です。
Recent analysis commissioned by the Ocean Panel reveals that the ocean can contribute up to 35% of the annual emission cuts needed to keep global temperature rise below 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2050. The Ocean Panel is a unique initiative of serving world leaders, united in a singular mission to redefine how we interact with this vast blue expanse.
The panel members have committed to sustainably manage 100% of the ocean areas under their national jurisdiction. We will establish sustainable ocean plans and urge all the coastal states to do the same.
Sustainable ocean plans are strategic blueprints to safeguard the ocean, ensuring a balance between protection, sustainable production, and equitable prosperity.
Sustainable ocean plans lay the foundations for ocean-based solutions to climate change, to biodiversity loss and food insecurity.
We are all united by our dependence upon the ocean and our vulnerability to the threats it faces. Let us join with the leaders of the Ocean Panel in recognizing that we need a healthy ocean for a healthy and prosperous future on this planet.
Ocean Panel leaders call for other countries around the world to join them in developing sustainable ocean plans and turning the 100% goal into a reality to restore the health of the ocean and ensure a sustainable, prosperous future for all.
So thanks to the leaders, and without the leaders, of course, it is not going to happen. I'd like to introduce now a panel of leaders and drivers in the march towards a sustainable ocean economy. And I'd like you all to come up, if you would, as I call you out, starting with Her Excellency Anne Beate Tvinnereim, who is Norway's Minister for International Development. Rick Spinrad, oceanographer, but also the head of the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, as we all know as NOAA. Ambassador Joel Hernandez from Mexico. Ambassador. Also Mark Lambridis, who is the Director for the Department of Sustainable Development and at the Organization of American States, representing, of course, 34 OS countries. Cynthia Bazuna, who is the Director of Ocean Action 2030, coordinating much of the work of all 18 of those panel countries. And Ambassador Ilana Said, who is the permanent representative of Palau to the United Nations. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. I should point out that everyone is under time pressure, and I think, Rick, it's fair to say you are one of those, and you may have to dash off fairly early. So I'll just make that clear now so everyone knows why there might be a little bit of room for maneuver there, if I can put it that way. But Anne Beate, if I could start with you perhaps, obviously a founder member of the panel itself. I don't know how I will put this best, but what are the most impactful things that can be achieved in terms of what this panel is trying to do?
Thank you, David, and thank you for allowing me to speak on behalf of one of the ocean countries of the North and the Arctic. Thank you. I think we all know that if we are to achieve the SDGs, a sustainable management of 100% of the ocean is required, it's needed. And that is necessary to protect the ocean efficiently, but also to produce sustainably from the ocean. So that balance is very important to address. I'm particularly concerned about the situation on food security globally. And to feed a growing world population and reduce food insecurity, we need to get more out of our food from the ocean. More marine protein from fisheries and from increased aquaculture production, but that must be done sustainably. It must be done in a sustainable manner. And for those reasons, Norway initiated the creation of the high-level panel for a sustainable ocean economy. Sustainable use of the ocean is also a key contribution to dealing with the climate crisis, as has been pointed out. The Oceans Panel has documented that 1/3 of the reductions in CO2 emissions needed to stay on a 1.5-degree course can come from the ocean. 1/3. The ocean is a key part of our solution. A larger share of the global diet coming from the ocean will reduce the climate footprint of the global food system, and that is why I appreciate and support the COP presidency's focus on ocean issues. Thank you for that. Sustainable management of 100% of the ocean is the main commitment of the Oceans Panel. The 18 members of the Ocean Panel represent 50% of the world's coastlines and close to 50% of the world's oceans' exclusive economic zones. So what our group agrees makes a significant difference. All members of the panel are committed to sustainably manage 100% of the ocean areas under our control, guided by sustainable ocean plans. Norway, for our part, will deliver on that commitment in 2024. All panel members before 2025 or within 5 years after joining the panel. While the Ocean Panel represents half of the world ocean under national control, our ambition must be to manage 100% of the world ocean sustainably. The Ocean Panel therefore urges all coastal states to join the panel in our commitment to manage the ocean under national control sustainably before 2030 and develop sustainable ocean plans for that purpose. We know that many developing countries will need support to be able to deliver on that. So the Ocean Panel, together with other actors, have created several mechanisms to provide financial and technical support for sustainable ocean plan work in developing countries. And those mechanisms, they need to be expanded, and flexible startup money should be made available to get SOP processes started at the country level. We need to get action on the ground or in the sea. I welcome the establishment of a rapid assistance fund for that purpose. It's hugely appreciated. Let's do it together. Thank you.
Minister, thank you very much indeed. We'll hear more about the Rapid Assistance Fund in just a moment. Could I ask you one small question, and that is the power of momentum, if you like, and almost carpe diem, seizing opportunities, because, as you say, the panel represents, you're halfway there. There's another half to find, and we are in an environment where you can latch on to people here.
We know what to do. We need some countries to, move first, but there really is a momentum, and there are so many crises on top of each other right now. I mentioned food security. We are at a critical stage of history. Hunger is increasing in the world, and we cannot, it's unacceptable that people are starving in 2023. If we are to feed the world in a sustainable manner, we need sustainable protein from the ocean. We know how to do it. We can do it, and at the same time mitigate climate change. So let's just get to it.
Minister, thank you very much indeed. Rick, I'd like to turn to you, if I may. We've got these 5 big areas of tourism, fisheries or fishing, and the provision of food, energy, of course, marine conservation, and shipping. And I just wonder if there are any that you would like to particularly pick up on.
Yeah, thank you, David. And I would like to talk a bit about the Green Shipping Challenge, which was launched last year at COP27. It really marked a monumental step in the maritime industry's transition toward achieving zero emissions, which of course is a key element in building momentum for a sustainable ocean economy. This year, the challenge culminated in more than 60 announcements, upward of $3 billion in investments aimed directly at decarbonizing the maritime sector, and more than 8 new green corridors. These corridors are designed to reach zero greenhouse gas emissions in every aspect, contributing to the broader goal of decarbonizing the sector by no later than 2050. The industry is witnessing impressive advancements in zero-emissions shipping. Strides in ammonia, wind, and hydrogen are growing faster than governments can respond. The industry is also identifying opportunities and co-benefits to meet other environmental goals like reducing underwater noise and protecting critical habitats while decarbonizing the fleet. The United States is also making strides to expand our ocean ambition domestically. The U.S. Ocean Climate Action Plan represents a comprehensive and ambitious strategy that is critically rooted in scientific understanding and global cooperation. It recognizes the ocean's pivotal role in combating climate change, acknowledging that the health of our oceans is ingrained in the health of our planet and in our economy. The OCAP, as we call it, outlines 3 goals that mobilize the federal government and civil society to take effective and innovative ocean climate action. First, it seeks to create a carbon-neutral future without emissions that cause climate change and harm human health. On this point, the United States is committing to working with IMO countries to adopt a goal of achieving 0 emissions from international shipping by 2050. Our Department of Energy will also invest $7 billion into new hydrogen hubs across the United States, several of which propose to work with our ports and may help unlock the next wave of maritime decarbonization. Second, OCAP aims to accelerate solutions that tap the power of natural coastal and ocean systems to absorb and store greenhouse gases, reducing the climate threat and protect communities and ecosystems against unavoidable changes. My own agency, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, is investing in understanding and protecting coastal and blue ecosystems, which have the potential to capture and store carbon dioxide, support biodiversity, and provide coastal protection from waves and flooding driven by sea level rise and storms. We are pleased that coastal ecosystem restoration, including blue carbon, was one of the 2 themes of discussion at the UNFCCC Ocean and Climate Dialogue in June. And finally, the U.S. is actively seeking to enhance community resilience to ocean change by developing ocean-based solutions that help stakeholders adapt and thrive in our changing climate. The Green Shipping Challenge and the OCAP are highly aligned with the vision of the Ocean Panel and Ocean Breakthroughs. In the Ocean as a Solution to Climate Change Updated Opportunities for Action, the Ocean Panel identified the need to reduce emissions from shipping and the Green Shipping Challenge. The Ocean Breakthroughs identify key sectors for action, including marine conservation and ocean-based transport. These commitments are important actions to address the climate crisis, as well as biodiversity loss, and facilitate sustainable and prosperous blue economies. In order to achieve the goals and objectives of the Ocean Panel and Ocean Breakthroughs, ocean-based climate solutions must be accelerated through collective action. Meetings like this one at COP28 are instrumental for achieving this collective action. The Our Ocean Conference is another critical venue to bring together the global community and drive global ocean action, particularly for marine conservation. And the United States is looking forward to the 2024 Our Ocean Conference taking place in Athens, Greece in April. I hope to see many of you there. And with that, David, I would also like to ask the obliging of our panel members, because I've been asked to talk about another important aspect of conservation, and that is the establishment of marine protected areas. So I'll be taking my leave with great apologies to the panelists, but appreciation for the opportunity to talk about the Green Shipping Challenge. Thank you.
Rick, thank you very much indeed. And as it's associated with the ocean, you may indeed leave to talk on another issue. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me then turn to Mark Lambridis of the OAS. Mark, give us some insight into where the OAS is now. You've had a pretty landmark declaration a matter of a few weeks ago, of course, so perhaps you can put us in the picture.
Will do, and thank you, David. And I'm pleased to join this esteemed panel today representing the Organization of American States, or known as the OAS. We are the regional organization for the countries of the Americas. On behalf of our Secretary General, Luis Almagro, who could not be with us today, I'm pleased to express the commitment of our efforts to support the countries of North, Central, South America, and the Caribbean in the hemisphere's collective approach to sustainable ocean planning and ocean breakthroughs. It's important to note that 33 of the 35 OAS member countries have oceanfront property. About 30% of the population of the Americas live in coastal areas. Among our member states are 15 Caribbean nations that are fully surrounded by the ocean, from which they derive tremendous benefits, but also many risks. The risks in the region that the region faces include rising sea levels, the degradation of coral reefs, plastics pollution, the devastating impact of hurricanes, and the proliferation of sargassum. Each of these has the potential to threaten the health and sustainability of our ocean and marine ecosystems, impacting our infrastructure, livelihoods, and our very human health. In October of this year, the countries of the Americas gathered in Nassau, the Bahamas, for the Hemispheric Sustainable Development Ministerial, and at this meeting, the member countries signed the Hemispheric Declaration of Nassau for Sustainable Development and its action plan. The countries agreed to, quote, proactively conserve and sustainably manage and protect the ocean and other bodies of water, including through appropriate measures that promote sustainable stewardship of marine and freshwater ecosystems of each state, thus recognizing their vital role in climate change mitigation and adaptation. So I'm pleased to announce that the OAS has recently joined Ocean Action 2030 Coalition, with which we will collaborate to elevate the focus of ocean in the framework of OAS priorities by providing technical assistance and water diplomacy to help countries overcome the challenges that stand in the way of greater adoption of sustainable ocean plans in the region. Among the tangible ocean breakthrough approaches we are pursuing currently is the collaborative revolving environmental water program for wastewater treatment in small island development states. This partnership addresses critical issues such as recycling and wastewater management, and their direct impact on the health of the ocean around the Caribbean. Our long history of work on integrated water resources management in the Americas has taught us how to promote innovative source-to-sea solutions to help manage the freshwater resources, for example, in the Plata region of South America or in the Trufinio region of Central America. And today, as mandated by our countries, we're looking forward to bringing the lessons from strategic planning of freshwater resources into the Americas ocean front through sustainable ocean planning in the Western Hemisphere. So it's an honor to join with everyone today to express the commitment of my organization, the OAS, and the will of the countries of the Americas to tackle the critical challenges confronting our ocean. The Americas is truly an ocean-front hemisphere, and our health and prosperity depend on our effective stewardship of this global resource. I thank you.
Mark, thank you very much indeed for that. And with perfect timing, I'd like to turn to Ambassador Hernandez of Mexico. After all, Mexico having very much taken a lead role in Latin America, Ambassador, perhaps you can give us an idea with regard to your national ocean plan about some of the challenges and obstacles as well as achievements.
Thank you very much, and apologies for my late arrival. I'm just coming from the plenary to make the national intervention, and thank you so much for inviting Mexico to participate in this panel and to share with you some of our experiences. First of all, we recognize the important role that oceans play in global economic development. We are aware that achieving a sustainable ocean economy requires a healthy ocean, where its ecosystems and the species that live within can live in harmony without anthropocentric pressures such as global warming, pollution, illegal fishing, and the destruction of marine ecosystems. Advocating for sustainable ocean economy on a global stage and at the highest level has been our priority. That's why Mexico joined the high-level panel for a sustainable ocean economy in 2018. The process of developing the Mexican Sustainable Ocean Plan started by building upon the Oceans Panel's transformation framework. A multi-sectoral exercise transformed the panel's vision into the implementation strategy for a sustainable ocean economy 21-24, a document that guides our national and international plans concerning sustainable ocean activities. In this regard, Mexico is now actively updating its national coastal and marine policy, which will be presented as our sustainable ocean plan, aligned with the commitment made within the panel to transition to the sustainable management of our 100% of our exclusive economic zone by 2025. We recognize the need for structural improvements and to ensure an effective integration across sectors, initiatives, and coastal areas that take into account our complex national context. Furthermore, securing financial support is imperative. We therefore welcome the announcement of the Rapid Assistance Fund, which will help achieve these goals. Despite our challenges, Mexico's affiliation with the Ocean Panel has brought about notable advantages for local communities, including the strengthening and prioritization of local and indigenous communities' engagement through different participatory processes. This has allowed us to integrate their local knowledge, perspectives, and understanding of the ocean's prosperity, protection, and production within the purpose of ensuring that a healthy ocean continues to be a source of well-being for everyone. Ultimately, engaging other nations is key. While we, countries represented in the high-level panel, account for the 50% of the world coastlines, we invite all countries to discuss. Sustainable ocean plans are tangible, achievable solutions in the short and long term, as well as powerful tools to enrich our NDCs. Mexico's commitment to a sustainable ocean plan is not a mere statement. It's a call for action. It's an opportunity for nations to unite, combat climate change, and embrace a sustainable and prosperous future for the shared ocean. Let me close by quoting Jacques Cousteau: "The happiness of the earth depends on the health of our oceans." Thank you.
Very true. Ambassador, thank you very much indeed for your remarks there. We've twice heard Cynthia already about the Rapid Assistance Fund. Cynthia, your job is to coordinate with the panel countries, of course, to make this all happen. I know we've spoken before, and finance is a key objective, of course, but perhaps you could help us to understand how to make this happen.
Of course, thank you. Your Excellencies, esteemed guests, and members of the global ocean community. Today at COP28, Ocean Day, great day to launch the Rapid Assistance Fund, as the Minister was mentioning. This couldn't have happened without the help of the high-level panel for a sustainable ocean economy. And they kind of created this holistic vision, and this holistic vision needed to transform into action. So Ocean Action 2030 is about that. It's about action. It's about assisting the countries to develop and implement their sustainable ocean plans through a holistic approach that can tackle climate change, that could also refer to the biodiversity loss, and could also create a sustainable use of the ocean. Of course, we need the approach of 100%. 50% of the coastlines, as mentioned, already been covered by the Ocean Panel members, but we need the 100%. We need everybody else on board. Prime Minister of Norway, during the leader segment, announced the declaration to deliver sustainable ocean plans this past week. So very exciting news for the ocean. It was time to have this conversation. It was time to have this conversation here at this very important international forum. SDG 14 still is the least funded of them all. 0.01% is not good enough. We're not there yet, so we need, the challenge still is, of course, and relies on the funding. So in order to get large-scale finance, the mechanisms could be a bit slow. And sometimes it's just about starting the process. It's just about the small amounts to get started, to kick off on sustainably managing the ocean through sustainable ocean plans. Well, guess what? The Rapid Assistance Fund allocated within the World Resources Institute is the tool to deliver on that, on the finance countries, developing countries need to get started, to follow on the lead of the Ocean Panel members. Recently, the Organization of American States has joined the coalition. So we're very, very happy to work with Latin America and the Caribbean as well. So now we have, out of all the members of the OAS. I will rest the ones that are already part of the Ocean Panel, 30 new opportunities to work with 30 amazing countries as well and to deliver. I'm also very proud to say that we have a first funder for the Rapid Assistance Fund. I would like to thank the Development Bank of Latin America and the Caribbean, CAF, for being the first bank to fund the Rapid Assistance Fund. We welcome, of course, more funders. We are going to need a lot of help to develop and implement sustainable ocean plans worldwide. So the invitation is open to join the coalition, to join the declaration launched by the Ocean Panel in order to deliver by 2030. Some of the countries from the Ocean Panel have committed to deliver by 2025, and recent new members by 2030. As mentioned before, it's very tangible by Embajador Hernandez. It's very tangible, it's very durable, and a short period of time. So the ocean is our ally, and this is the best option ever to just get started. We know that members of the Ocean Panel plus other members joining the coalition will need the technical and financial assistance to deliver sustainable ocean plans, and that's why we had 19 leading institutions that can help us deliver on sustainable ocean planning. So this is an invitation to learn more about 100% sustainable ocean management through sustainable ocean plans, an invitation to also engage with the Rapid Assistance Fund, and huge good news, I believe, for the ocean community today. In scaling up and unlocking the full potential of the oceans, and we need this to become a worldwide, of course, initiative. With that, I would like to close by saying that sustainable ocean plans are inclusive, participatory, transparent, and accountable process. In conclusion, Rapid Assistance Fund could be the crucial step to deliverable, actionable plans towards a sustainable ocean future. Thank you.
Cynthia, thank you very much indeed for laying that out so clearly. Ambassador Said, if I can come to you, and we've talked a lot there about finance actually, but I wonder, what are the great persuasive arguments, what are the essentials to get to that 100%?
Thank you, David. Before I answer your question, I'd like to take a minute to share kind of a very exciting announcement we had a couple of days ago with respect to our work at the Ocean Panel and on sustainable ocean plans. In 2020, we created this transformation document, which is kind of the blueprint that the Ocean Panel members wanted to use to transform the blue economy, to think about oceans in a different way. And one of the pillars of that were the creation of sustainable ocean plans. So as a co-chair for the Ocean Panel, Palau then embarked on creating a sustainable ocean plan. But as the co-chair, we also thought we would do a little bit better. So a couple of days ago, President Whipps announced, in collaboration with 13 other Pacific islands, the Unlocking Blue Prosperity Initiative. This is an initiative where 14 countries came together. We declared the largest conservation effort in history, and it's to protect and sustainably produce in the Blue Pacific continent. In conjunction with that, the Bezos Earth Fund committed $100 million to help us on the initiative, and the Global Environmental Facility also committed $125 million to help us. So I think it's this vision that we all have to undertake a new ocean economy. We have to create these sustainable ocean plans, but we need the financing to be able to undertake that. So I think with that, we need help from donor governments, we need help from philanthropy, and we really came to this COP to make that announcement because we can get it done. And so before the COP, we were at nearly half of the world's territorial oceans were protected or basically committed to a sustainable ocean plan. With that announcement and with the joint declaration with OAS, we are well over a majority of the ocean. So I guess the call to action is to really encourage governments who have not signed up to do a sustainable ocean plan to please consider doing so, and to join the joint declaration on ocean and climate action, which we announced today, and also for governments, donor governments, as well as philanthropy to contribute to the Rapid Assistance Fund to help make these dreams a reality. Thank you.
I'm very glad you got that out there then, as you can see, we are right up on the clock, and it's very important to hear the progress that's being made. Can I thank all of you, all the panelists, for your contributions there and for effectively helping to shed the light, to be that lighthouse on guiding other countries into recognizing the routes that you're taking. So to our panel, many thanks indeed. Thank you. And if you could exit stage right. So we've heard a lot over the course of this first hour essentially from governments, some other institutions as well, as to how to unlock this, how to reach that 100%. But of course, none of this is done by one sector alone. It will incorporate, yes, philanthropy, as we've heard, academia, research institutions, but of course also the private sector. And that is where we're going to turn our attention now. Powering the ocean breakthroughs across industry and nature is the title of our first of two panel sessions. And I'd like to welcome Sturla Henriksson to the stage. Sturla is the Senior Advisor for Ocean at the UN Global Compact. And it's my pleasure to hand the reins over to you, Sturla, to take on this panel and indeed to bring up your panelists. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David, and a very good afternoon to you all. In this session, we are to see how global leaders are delivering on the ocean breakthroughs, on concrete, tangible projects. And I have an excellent panel of prominent speakers here. From my far left is Mr. Ayman Sharkawi, Director, and here I really have to read, Director of the Hassan II International Center for Environmental Training at Mohammed VI Foundation for Environmental Protection. Is that right? Welcome. And then is Ms. Susan Gardner, who is Director of Ecosystems at UNEP. We have Nicolas Schiers, CEO of Reederei F-Laes. We have Karen Sack, Executive Director of the Ocean Risk and Resilience Action Alliance. And we have Ariane Pevid, Director of Climate Finance at MUFG. And last but not least, Adam Brennan, who is Group Director of Sustainability of Thai Union. So, in the previous section, we heard about sustainable ocean management, which is, of course, critical for businesses to drive and deliver on the global goals. And not only SDG 14, but a wide range of the global sustainable development goals. And therefore, today, I'm very happy to announce that more than 40 businesses and organizations have endorsed the non-state actors' call for sustainable ocean plans, which is really sending a clear message, a clear signal to the authorities and governments about the need for such plans. And without further ado, I'd like to jump right to the presentations by inviting you, Adam. You are Thai Union is one of the largest seafood producers in the world, and it goes without saying that you need clean, healthy, and productive oceans. Yeah? Very bad business in sick and dying and polluted oceans. But beyond that, why is this important to you, and how are you acting in this field?
Sure, so thank you, Sturla. And I think as we've heard throughout this session, our oceans are under threat from multiple directions, from climate change to overfishing. And as a seafood company, our supply chain is on the front lines. We are reliant on the health of the world's oceans, and the future of Thai Union depends on their sustainable management. This is why we have launched one of the industry's most ambitious sustainability strategies at scale to tackle social and labor issues, health and nutrition, climate change, including science-based targets both for the short term and long term, as well as protecting and safeguarding biodiversity and driving circularity. But not only do we set the bar high for ourselves, we are also investing every dollar that we earned last year, 100% of our net profits from 2022, into the implementation of our sustainability goals. This is how serious Thai Union considers ocean stewardship, and likewise the threat of not acting. But we also want to be an agent of change for the rest of the industry, which is why we are a part of CBOS, an industry collaboration amongst 9 of the largest seafood companies in the world, where we can share and implement aligned strategies across our respective global supply chains and tackle these industries and these challenges together for greater impact. Our vision is to ensure that seafood is a solution to the climate crisis, and due to its relatively lower carbon intensity, can support in decarbonizing the global food system, whilst also protecting and safeguarding nature and people. And whilst we still have much work to do as an industry, developing and implementing the Sustainable Ocean Plans alongside the ocean breakthroughs is key to turning this vision into reality. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and very impressive work that you're doing here at the Thai Union. Thanks a lot, Adam, and good luck with your further efforts. So turning to you, Karen, I'd like to, building resilience of coastal communities in the global south is obviously extremely important for the ocean breakthroughs. Say a bit how you're working with this, and what, not least, but what can be done to unlock funding for these efforts.
Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. The Ocean Risk and Resilience Action Alliance is an alliance of over 80 members from finance, insurance, governments, multilateral organizations, and civil societies. And really, what we are is a partnership for a power shift, because it's only through radical collaboration that we can drive the type of action we need to see, with a goal of activating at least $500 million of finance through insurance and finance products into coastal and ocean resilience by 2030, and in so doing, increasing the resilience of at least 250 million climate-vulnerable coastal people in the global south. Action is in our name, and perhaps like King Neptune, we have a trident with 3 prongs in terms of how we work. The first prong focuses on building from the bottom up an investable project pipeline. We are constantly told that there isn't a pipeline of products to invest into. That is patently incorrect. Over the last 3 years, we have been building a pipeline that now numbers 60 projects, and we were excited this week with the United Kingdom to announce 12 new projects that we are investing into in the global south, each of which will receive up to $500,000 and focus on those finance and insurance products for sustainability. We also announced with USAID that Aura will be the anchor partner of their Coastal Resilience, Carbon and Conservation Finance Initiative to push private sector investment into the global south and coastal resilience. And by 2025, our alliance will have invested at least $10 million into these projects and products. The second prong in our trident focuses on addressing the missing middle, the place the projects and products sometimes go to die when they move from being grant-funded towards private sector investment. And particularly in the global south, this is a huge problem. We're really excited again today to announce for the first time a $5 million investment from Builders Vision into a new fund, the Outrigger Ocean Impact Fund, focused entirely on investing into the missing middle in small island developing states. We're also, the final prong of our trident is looking at building from the top down. We need to break through by creating the capital markets for the ocean. And so are excited that working with the Development Guarantee Group, we are building Nautilus, the Ocean Guarantee Company, a protective shell to provide the guarantees and insurance products to de-risk investment into the space. And finally, Deutsche Bank, our global lead banking partner, announced yesterday, and I should just say that they have $1.4 billion of assets under management, announced yesterday that they have signed up to Aura's Back Blue ocean finance commitment to make sure that the ocean is at the table in finance decision-making processes. And they now join global insurer AXA, WTW, and the Palladium Group, and we hope many others as we move forward through incubation, innovation, acceleration, and scaling for ocean finance. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Karen. This was really good news that you could present today. So I'd like to continue on the coastal and ocean resilience, and turning to you, Suzanne, because in the field of corals, we know that healthy corals, they can absorb 90% of the kinetic energy caused by waves, and thereby protecting coastal communities. And more attention has been drawn to this, but what will it take to get this to the next level? Huh?
Well, it's true. Nature-based solutions are essential for the challenges today, and coral reefs present an excellent example of a blue nature-based solution. They're supporting the coastal communities for things like providing food security, for helping to protect against water surges from storms. And so in that, they actually provide economic benefits. They provide benefits to people. They provide benefits to biodiversity at the same time. So these are truly, truly, in every way, the definition of nature-based solutions. And so we have to recognize that they're under unprecedented threats right now. And so we have to start to minimize the stress and ensure that we're maximizing the solutions. And that's what we're doing at UNEP now today. We were so proud just last week to announce the launch of the Coral Reef Breakthrough together with the high-level climate champions, the International Coral Reef Initiative, and the Global Fund for Coral Reefs, which is the most recent of the ocean breakthroughs, and it aims to secure funding to secure the future of 125,000 square kilometers of shallow water tropical coral reefs, and invest with a target of $12 billion. And most importantly, this would provide support and resilience for 500 million people globally by 2030. So we've been a founder and an implementing partner of the Global Fund for Coral Reefs, and together with the coalition members, we're very pleased to announce that we've already mobilized $200 million towards the coral reef breakthrough targets. And moving forward, the coalition has a lot more ambition. We're raising an additional $500 million by 2030, with the potential to leverage investments of at least $2.5 billion. So this is great progress, but yet we know there's still gaps, and we have to fill those gaps. We have to identify what they are. And so we're emphasizing a real need and progress towards developing the monitoring and the evaluation framework that will bring transparency and accountability to our protection of coral reefs. And it'll help us to track the progress, and then we know if we're staying on course. So I'd like to just leave you with 3 things quickly. First, we need rapid, massive decarbonization. This is clear. We need to continue to invest in coral reefs, both public and private finance, and we need effective management of protected areas. We encourage all member states to look at marine protected areas as part of your efforts to implement the Global Biodiversity Framework. Look, we're going to be judged by the next generation on whether we leave a healthy and resilient ocean, and coral reefs are essential to this. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. And now we heard both from Karen and from Susan. We've heard about money going towards this area, which is very encouraging. I'd like to ask you, Ariane. You are at MUFG, to some of us known as Mitsubishi Bank, which is the largest bank in Japan. And I'm a general economist of academic training. So this is really intriguing. How do we make, sort of, faced with how do we internalize externalities of ocean investments, and how do we deal with the problem of, or the challenge or tragedy of global commons? Huh? In short, how do we make ocean investments part of the mainstream global finance?
And I think it's a funny thing, because I think that's the first myth that we have to break, is that the mainstream finance is already in the ocean. People just don't realize it, either from the amount of capital or from the risk perspective, because most of the business, and being a very large bank, I'm pretty sure 99% of our client portfolio are involved and impacted by the ocean at some point of their supply chain. So I think that making that connection, which should be obvious but not always, is very key. But most importantly, I think from the view of private capital side, is twofold: of we need to be ambitious and we need to be pragmatic. And I'm a firm believer that is the small wins replicated over and over again that will get us to achieve the scale needed to face up to the challenge. And in that sense, what we internally in MUFG have looked at and how to invest further in blue finance, one is working with our clients in understanding their exposure to the ocean, the risks that the ocean have to their business model, and that is a risk-based approach of you need to invest. It's not about doing good, is if you don't do good, you will not do well. And that's one. But then this is a risk, it's the carrot and the stick. This is the stick, but then the carrot. And I think taking off all the announcements that were made here, we see the push from the public sector to be catalytical and to actually, and I think it's where the collaboration word keeps getting repeated, and it's so important that everyone is trying to meet each other where they are. And it's having this catalytical capital available to bring in the private sector and to really bridge the gap of perceived risks. As we mentioned about the pipeline that everyone knows, there is a pipeline, getting those deals off the ground, but also this public sector angle of getting the countries on the driving seat. The countries are the demand for the capital, and they need to, the projects need to be led by them, not the other way around. And I think that has been proving successful of working with DFI's, philanthropy's private sector in one ecosystem, because you then ensure you have country ownership, stakeholder engagement with the scale of the private sector, because none of this is going to work without transparency and accountability. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Ariane. So I'd like to turn to you, Nicholas. You are heading a shipping company. I mean, shipping is a backbone of the global economy, carrying more than 80% of all international trade of goods, so key. Your company was founded in 1824, wasn't it? Right. So an impressive performance to survive for 200 years, which also means that you started your business when shipping was truly zero emission. So you've been where we are heading, haven't you, already? But apart from that, I'd like to ask you about the ocean and the ocean biodiversity. Why is it crucial for the shipping industry to protect the ocean space and the blue space? Say something about that. Yeah?
Thank you much, Stola, and thank you much for having me. Also on behalf of BIMCO, which is really the voice for the shipping for who I'm here. And as you know, I may look old. I didn't found the company. That was found much before me, but I now have the honor to run it. And we are in research shipping, so we are very aware of the tipping points that the ocean is facing with development in different areas. But let me say this a little bit more global for the shipping industry as such. With about 61,000 ships, the shipping lanes are the arteries of global trade. And as you just mentioned, we do more than 80% of global trade. We do that with 1.7 million seafarers, and we are aware how significant that is for the world's trade. But at the same time, we are aware that we are responsible for approximately 3%. In fact, it's getting less. It's now 2.6, 2.7% of global emissions, and we are totally aware that the urgency to decarbonize shipping has substantially increased. This year, 2023, as you are all aware, will be the hottest year on record, and shipping is welcoming that we have been tasked with decarbonizing by 70% until 2040 and 100% by 2050. So we are in favor of that. And as we work towards a more sustainable shipping industry, we want to protect the ecosystem and the ocean that we rely on. So it is going beyond, because the oceans are really our bread and butter. They are the backbone of our existence. And Sturla, let me add that as ship owners, we love the sea. We need to minimize marine mammal collisions. We need to reduce underwater noise from ships to minimize the adverse effects on marine life. We need to diminish the impact from transferring invasive species from one area to another. Today, and that really is the announcement, the Race to Zero, SSI, Equal Routes, and the United Nations Foundations are launching the 2030 Shipping Pact for People and Nature. And that pact provides very clear biodiversity protectionistic goals, and it provides how to avoid further biodiversity, to avoid further biodiversity loss. We shipping people know that without commitment there is no progress, and we welcome that very much. So for us, the decarbonization of shipping and protecting biodiversity is non-negotiable, and as we have heard just now from Karine, we will be defined by our action and not by our words. There is no turning back, and the small steps are no longer enough. So the benefits of doing good are too great to miss, and the consequences if we don't are too severe. Thank you much.
Thanks a lot, Niklas. And Mr. Sharkoui, the Mohammed VI Foundation has been a long time a champion of ocean action, and you have in particular focused on ocean science, research and education. And you're also playing an important role in the UN Decade of Ocean Science. So tell us, how can this decade and how can the Decade of Ocean Science help inform business activities and decisions?
Certainly. Thank you. First of all, I want to thank the organizers, and in particular the COP28 presidency, for convening this meeting and more broadly this amazing COP. In addition, I'm always happy to take part in activities of the Marrakesh Partnership for Global Climate Action. Now, dear Sturla, I have 3 words to address your question: science, science, and science. The first science word is about the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development that you were just referring to. The Foundation, under the vision of His Majesty the King Mohammed VI and the leadership of Her Royal Highness Princess Al Hasna, is fully committed to that decade and the science we need for the ocean we want. The Foundation is a founding member of the Decade Alliance, and Her Royal Highness is a patron of the Alliance. We hosted the second dialogue of the foundations for the decade at the center last year, and I was happy to listen to Her Excellency the Foreign Minister of Monaco, as we have a strong partnership with the Prince Albert II of Monaco Foundation. We closely collaborated with them for the 3rd edition that took place in Monaco earlier this year. The decade identifies 10 challenges for one ocean, and we have 7 years left. No time to lose. The second science word is about the role of science in the ocean breakthroughs. Science has a key role to play for the 5 key sectors we have heard about earlier. Science helps us understand where we are standing, or should I say, floating or sinking. Science also helps us know where we need to sail towards, the science-based targets that Lorelei was referring to earlier, and very importantly, science is critical to assess and facilitate the breakthroughs that to help us get to where we need to go. The last science word is about how we embed science in education. We are very glad for a strong partnership with UNESCO, UNEP, UNFCCC, and the Foundation for Environmental Education, the Ministry of National Education in Morocco, among other important partners in that regard. Ocean literacy and education for sustainable development are important elements to bolster the relationship of humanity to the ocean. Inclusion is essential to generate and strengthen scientific knowledge, but also for that knowledge to be more accessible and context-specific. At the Foundation, we work in Morocco, Africa, the Mediterranean, globally with preschool, primary school, and high school children, as well as university students, the public and private sectors, and other civil society stakeholders. We are very proud to have enabled the participation here at COP of 12 young reporters from the environment, from every region of Morocco, some of them are in the room, as well as youth from across Africa that are working on concrete solutions to address climate change. In conclusion, I would like to refer to a Carl Sagan quote, "Somewhere, something incredible is waiting to be known," end of quote. Clearly, there are many incredible things in the ocean that we know of, but far more are waiting to be known, and science is the key enabler for that to happen. So, as Her Excellency, the Minister of International Development of Norway, put it earlier, let's get to it. And as Her Excellency, the Permanent Representative of Palau to the United Nations said, we can get it done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and what an excellent note to end this panel discussion. A very big thanks to each and every one of you for generously sharing your extensive insights. Very inspirational. Thank you so much. Please give them a warm hand.
Thank you very much indeed. And Stola, thank you for moderating that panel. So I should point out thanks also to the high-level climate champions, to the Ocean and Climate Platform, excuse me, and the Marrakesh Partnership for helping to pull this particular session together. The obvious question is, what next? We are pushing our way through the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development. What does the scorecard look like? These are the questions that we want to discuss in our final panel and our final part of this particular session. And I will pass that baton over to Her Excellency Razan Al Mubarak, who is the high-level climate champion of COP28. Razan, it's over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and those amongst us who are deeply connected to the world's oceans. Oceans are the blue fabric of our identity. They are the very fabric of our culture, and oceans connect us. At COP28, we are anchoring nature as an existential ally in our efforts to address climate change and advance development, especially for and with indigenous peoples and local communities, and especially for our oceans. Oceans, encompassing 70% of our planet's surface, play a crucial role in absorbing around 30% of our emissions. They bolster the global economy, contributing around $1.5 trillion annually through marine industries, and are essential for the livelihoods of over 3 billion people who are dependent on marine and coastal biodiversity. We need to break the silos between the climate and nature agendas. We need to ensure that we collectively work together on the nexus between nature, climate, and development. And that is why I am proud to announce significant progress on the ocean breakthroughs. We see progress on how we protect our marine conservation areas. We see progress on aquaculture and ecotourism, as well as green shipping and offshore wind. And I'm also proud to announce that 18 countries have signed up to the Sustainable Ocean Plans. And with this incredible backdrop of action and momentum, the next 24 months will be pivotal, featuring key events that will shape this new paradigm. These include the UN Ocean Decade Conference in Costa Rica in 2024, the 3rd UN Ocean Conference in France, the IUCN World Conservation Congress in Abu Dhabi in 2025, and COP30 in Brazil, also in 2025. To further elaborate on our roadmap towards 2025, I am now delighted to welcome on the stage our UN Special Envoy for the Ocean, His Excellency Peter Thompson, His Excellency Franz Tattenbach, Minister of Environment and Energy of Costa Rica, and His Excellency Christophe Bichou, Minister of Ecological Transition and Territory Cohesion of France. Your Excellencies, the floor is yours. My first question is to you, Peter. You really have been an incredible champion for the oceans ever since, essentially, I started my career in conservation. So thank you for continuing to do the vital work that you do. My question to you is, COP28 is coming to a conclusion soon. What, if I may ask, is one of your main takeaways? What do you believe, if any, progress has been made on the ocean agenda, and what do you want to see in the negotiated outcomes?
Well, thanks very much for that, and I'm sure the room would want me to convey the compliments to you rather than to me in terms of leadership for everything you do at IUCN and as the high-level climate champion. Thank you for that. I'd also like to thank UAE for putting on such a great COP and for being such wonderful hosts. In terms of what has the ocean got out of this, I'll be true to the ocean community and say one thing, which is that we were not particularly amused when we found that we were as far away from the center of this organization as possible. We're right at the edge of the blue zone. And if you go, those of you who have not been down to the Nature Pavilion, because IUCN and the Ocean Pavilion are all inside that nature building, which is right at the edge of the green zone. It's a long way to get down there. A lot of sore knees if you've been here for 10 days. But when you get down there, it's a really quality operation happening there. And I take my hat off to Woods Hole and Scripps, who organized that Ocean Pavilion and have done for a number of years now. It's the ocean home at the COPs. It's really a message to the organizers of COP29. Secretary General of the United Nations has said we have been at war with nature. I don't think anybody would deny that, and that it's time for us to make peace. Well, if we're going to make peace with nature, nature needs to be at the top table. Nature needs to be at the center of things. So when you walk into COP29, I hope that you'll find that nature is at the front door, not down by the parking lot. So that would be my first message. Second message is congrats to everybody for getting the loss and damage fund operationalized. What a great start to the COP that was. It really did give hope. I said in an article in Time magazine last week that there has been this amazing wave of positive ocean action that has swept around the world for the last couple of years. You know, if you think of Montreal and the Global Biodiversity Framework, if you think of BB&J in New York, if you think of what's going on at WTO with the harmful fisheries subsidies in Nairobi with the plastic pollution treaty, there's this great wave which 5 years ago you would have thought impossible. I put in a second sentence, which Time magazine editors actually took out, but I think is important as a grandfather, which is that wave, that hope, not us, hope can ride that wave with growing confidence. And that should not be forgotten, because that's really what we're trying to generate for the younger generation. So not to dominate the microphone here, just to say that, you know, going forward to COP29, let's get nature at the center of things. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. You did warn me that you are going to be very diplomatic, and I will respond very diplomatically by saying that whilst I can't argue about the distances, I can say that the distances did add very positive steps to my exercise pedometer. But what I can say with confidence that inclusion of nature is not a whim or a trend. It is existential. And that is why it was actually placed as one of the 4 priorities of the COP28 presidency, alongside fast-tracking the energy transition, accelerating finance, and really putting nature, people, lives, and livelihood at the heart of climate action. And this is something that I truly believe. While science has shown us that we need to rapidly decarbonize our supply, science has also shown us that we will not achieve the goals of Paris without nature. And with that, I'd like to ask a follow-up question to His Excellency Christophe. You will be welcoming the world very soon, well, it's coming very soon, in Nice in 2 years' time. And I wanted to ask your perspective on the type of milestones that you would like to see at the UN Ocean Conference.
Thank you so much for your question. We know currently we don't have at one end climate and the other one biodiversity, but a twin fight, a twin combat. And just at the middle, ocean are key for these both objectives. During last months, we have built an international momentum with COP15 and BB&G. So, when I look forward, and especially to the UNOC in Nice in 2025, we will organize with Costa Rica. I want to salute France and Costa Rica. And so we have some dreams and we have some projects. I begin by projects, organizing before Nice a summit for blue finance. We need to more sustain science. We have a lack for ocean. We don't have a magic number like the 1.5 degrees for climate and for global warming, and we need not a magic number, not a magical number. It was a joke, but we need to have a referential. We need to have someone very easy to understand for leaders and public opinions to describe the emergency of situation for our oceans. We need to translate this emergency with images, very clear, very simple, because when you read reports, expertises, it's really desesperating in a way. And so it's why we need this. My dream, it will be to officialize the last signature for ratification of BB&G in Nice and it will be equally to ratify the end of negotiation of the treaty against plastic pollution. If we do nothing, in 2060 there will be more plastic than fish in the ocean. So the negotiation a few weeks ago in Nairobi have been a little bit disappointing because it was not so convincing, so progressive, we'll hope. We have to accelerate in 2024 to obtain an agreement on this question in 2025 to celebrate it in France, in Nice, for the UNOC.
Thank you. Part of the announcements that were done at Nature Day is a joint statement between the COP28 presidency and the COP15 presidency on the Convention of Biodiversity. The idea is to ensure that we work together to bridge the nexus or the gaps with respect to the implementation of work on nature conservation and work on climate change. Really inspired by the work that is happening in the real economy and those actors that are on the front line. They don't think in a siloed way. They don't work one day on climate change, the next day on fisheries conservation. They do this together. And from your stance, Peter, I know you've been, again, championing oceans for a very long time. How do you see we, as a global community, start bridging the gaps between COPs?
Yeah, it's a very important point. Everything is connected. We know that, don't we? But first of all, just let me thank the high-level champions and yourself for the ocean breakthroughs that were announced today, and of course the Ocean Panel for the great work they've been doing on bringing sustainable ocean plans to the world's ocean. Connectivity. I'll give you an example. The BB&J community, mainly ocean lawyers, after many years of negotiation, have brought that treaty almost into being. Of course, everything has to be ratified and then implemented. But there is that legal provision. It's under the law of the sea. But in Montreal, the environmental and biodiversity community came together and agreed on the global biodiversity framework. And amongst that was the 30 by 30 target. That's a perfect example of where synergy is so needed right now. We need to be talking between those two communities to find out where we're going to put the massive high seas marine protected areas and in what strategic places and in what places to cope for the fact that the ocean is changing rapidly. Biodiversity is moving around the ocean. So all that kind of planning needs to be going on now to bring the potential of BB&J together with the aspirations of 30 by 30. Just an example of how we need to break these silos down and think across them. But in terms of where we go from here to in the climate change discussions, the ocean climate change, I've already suggested at this COP that Canada and Chile have done such a great job as our first co-facilitators under the ocean and climate change dialogues, and have shown that this co-facilitation role is really important, and we're going to keep it up. But I will be suggesting formally in Bonn, when we get there in July, that we elevate this to ministerial rank, because I think, when you get to a COP, if you've got ministers intervening in the plenary to report on the dialogues, that are just, member states have to sit up and pay more attention. So that would be one suggestion. But the co-facilitators have done a great job. The dialogues are shown to be successful, and let's keep that place at the table in COP29 and going forward to Brazil.
Thank you, Peter. Same question to you. I know you've mentioned the importance of this connectivity with respect to plastic pollution, the High Seas Treaty. How do we, on the road to 2025, work together to bring this nexus even closer?
An initiative like this one is is a good step in the right direction. Speaking about ocean, in a COP about global warming, it's the proof everything is connected. And the commitment of the presidency on this subject is significant. But it's not efficient enough. And at the end of the day, we don't need only colloques, discussions, we need some commitments and some proofs. A few days ago, we officialized in France our national biodiversity strategy with clear and financial commitments towards protection of ocean, Posidonia meadows, mangroves. Today, we launch here in Abu Dhabi, Ocean Institute in La Sorbonne, Abu Dhabi, with researchers to obtain data, because we have to advance in many directions at the same time, and one of them is about science. We don't have any precise map of the oceans. We can use our satellites to know exactly what is happening under the seas, and we have to cooperate to obtain this scientific consensus, which will be useful to determine international priorities and cooperation. So, use every occasion to speak about ocean. Use every coalition to create new actions, commitments, group or financial levels to accelerate on this question, and use the next rendezvous of the UNOC to have a point which will be a great occasion to measure what we have made together and what we have still to do.
Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, my incredible co-panelists, who have really brought home the message: if we protect nature, it will certainly protect us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Could I just add our thanks for the whole session? Many thanks for that. I'm going to pray your indulgence for 1 minute and ask those speakers still here, please quickly to come up on stage. We'd love to get a photograph of as many of you who've contributed this afternoon. Thank you very much.